Welcome to a little bit of a different video for me. To start, if you're looking for a showcase of Mileena combos, then that is not the purpose of this video. The final chapter will be a compilation with notations for the combos discussed throughout the video, plus a little extra. So feel free to jump ahead if that's what you're looking for. But the intent of this video is to discuss the anatomy of Mileena combo structures on a basic level, what works and where, primary combo paths, and hopefully provide some tools and ideas to enable you to put combos together yourself, so you can stop searching Google or YouTube every time you try out a new Kameo or notice a possible opportunity for damage that you hadn't before. This is not meant to be a comprehensive or definitive guide and is directed toward beginner to intermediate players, or those familiar with Mortal Kombat 1 but maybe new to Mileena. The game isn't even a month old as of the time of this recording, and things are constantly being discovered. I'm still learning myself, every single day, and there's definitely information out there that I haven't included, but this should be enough to get you started. First, let's discuss combo structure. People don't memorize 100 digits of pi by literally remembering the sequence of each individual digit in order. Well, some people might, but one of the most common methods used is called chunking, grouping information into smaller, more manageable, and often meaningful pieces. With that considered, I want you to approach combos the same way. Instead of thinking about a combo as a sequence of inputs, chunk it into groups. Combo starter, combo extenders, and combo ender. If you have issues keeping track of what goes where and when, especially when learning a new character, then trust me, this is going to help. Let's look at one of Mileena's basic fundamental B&Bs, a meterless conversion using roll. The combo is started with 1-2 into roll, which launches the opponent. It ends with the dash up into forward 4, and the jump 2-2 canceled into air roll between those two things is what we're using to extend the combo once it's started. And now a common metered conversion. Again, the starter is what launches the opponent and sets up the extender, and this combo ends the same way as the other with a dash up into forward 4. There's a bit more going on in between than the last combo though. If it's easier to think about and chunk, this combo has 3 extenders. After the initial launch, we extend with the jump 1-2-2, which provides a little bounce. After that, we extend a second time with a dash up into 2-1 canceled into roll. Then after the roll launches, we extend yet again with jump 2-2 air roll, before ending with the dash forward 4. Next, I want to talk about consistency. The combo you land every time is always more valuable than the combo that you can do a bit more damage with but has more potential to be dropped. Sometimes squeezing out that extra few percent just isn't worth the risk of dropping the combo altogether. I'm going to call this the potential point of failure. A point in the combo that's easy to drop without precision. If you've heard the term tournament combo, that's exactly what we're talking about. A combo that may do less damage, but is consistent enough to avoid drops in the heat of the moment, usually due to strict timing or positioning. Comboing after EX up teleport, for instance. The easier, more consistent version does 412 damage, while you could optimize the combo for 426 damage with more strict timing, but could sacrifice some consistency in the process. But even the easier version has a couple potential points of failure. After the jump 1-2-2, you need to dash when you hit the ground and connect a 2-1 to keep the combo going. Sometimes you get a forward 2 when you want a 2-1. This one's an easy fix. Take your finger off the forward button after the dash. But the most common point of failure is the dash itself. You don't need to wait to dash until you hit the ground. You can buffer the dash by doing the input just before you land so it comes out on frame 1. If you're getting the dash consistently but dropping the 2-1 input, you're probably dash canceling into 2-1 too early. Try just doing it a tiny bit later. Also keep in mind that you don't need to do the jump 1-2-2 right away. I find the dash into 2-1 to be a lot more consistent if I let Mileena drop just for a moment before doing the jump 1-2-2. The version more optimal for damage replaces the first combo extender, but for that 14 extra damage you introduce a few new potential points of failure. Instead of doing jump 1-2-2 then dashing into 2-1, you do a jump 2-2 and with no dash, 1-2 once you hit the ground. Seems straightforward enough, right? Well, sort of. This is one of those combos I'll land all day in practice mode, but in the heat of a match or a little online latency, I drop it more than I land it, but maybe that's just me. You could certainly achieve a level of consistency with this combo path, but point being, it requires more precision than the other. The potential points of failure in this version all revolve around the jump 2-2. If you connect it too early, then you're not recovered in time to connect the 1-2 once you land. If you connect it too late, then the gravity after the roll will be different and you can't land the next jump 2-2. Then while trying to time it late, sometimes you're already on the ground before you have a chance to even jump 2-2. There's a sweet spot just between too early and too late that will give you the expected gravity after roll and allow you to continue your combo with the next jump 2-2. I wish I could tell you that timing, but it's more of a feeling than anything. You're just going to have to practice and experiment. So you tell me, what's more damage? The 412 from the easier, more consistent version, or the 227 you get after you drop it after the jump 2-2. I'm obviously oversimplifying, but I think you get the point. Exceptions notwithstanding, the basic tenets for comboing with Mileena are pretty simple. Starting a combo with roll disallows extending the same combo with another roll. Extending a combo with roll disallows any additional extenders with roll. And the same applies for air roll, which I've only talked about as an extender so far. It's also a combo starter, and we'll touch on that in a bit. With that said, roll and air roll are distinct and can both be used in a single combo, but you can only use one of each. A second of either will end the combo. And before going any further, one note about air roll is that it has 3 hits. You may notice that you're only hitting 2 of 3, and that's fine. You lose out on a tiny bit of damage and a little bit of hit advantage, but that's it. The trick to getting all 3 hits is by delaying the jump 2-2 very slightly. Not the jump 2-2 input itself after the jump, but the actual jump off the ground. Delay too much and your gravity is gone and you'll whiff the jump 2-2 entirely though. Don't get hung up on this if you can only get 2 hits. The more you play is the more naturally the timing will become to get all 3 hits without really even thinking about it. For the EX up teleport starter, only 1-2, 2-1, and forward 3 have enough cancel advantage to naturally combo. Using any other normal or string means the teleport can be blocked before it hits. However, any normal or string can naturally combo into roll since its startup is only 12 frames, obviously excluding those with no cancel advantage as well as pokes. You usually see me starting every combo with 1-2. That's because it's our fastest punish and usually does the most damage for a meterless conversion other than forward 3-4. Forward 3 starts up in 13 frames, so be sure to use forward 3-4 for your big meterless punishes on anything negative 14 or greater. So I've gone on and on about combos starting with roll and EX up teleport, but without the assistance of Kameo, she can also start combos with an air roll, EX Psy, and homing ball. Starting a combo with an air roll is a little unique since we usually only use it as a combo extender, so the combo path is a little bit different. Depending on the range it hits, you can extend the combo with a standing 4 or a quick dash into 2-1 and then roll, or just a raw roll at max distance. To end the combo, you can use jump 1-2-2 cancelled into down teleport, or jump 2-2 cancelled into air roll. Remember that this all started with an air roll, so a second one is going to end the combo. All of this is applicable to a homing ball that's 2-1 cancelled into an air roll as well. A fully charged homing ball can follow the same combo path you should be pretty used to seeing by now. The homing ball itself is the starter. Extend with a standing 4 into roll, extend once more with jump 2-2 into air roll, then close it out with your ender of choice. Then finally, EX Psy, which is also a unique one. When the Psy connects, nullifying any other projectile in its path, she teleports to the opponent's location and causes a crumple state. When mid-screen, you're not really in range to do much of anything other than a roll, so go for it, and follow the same combo path as the others. In the corner, you'll be in range for a quick dash and a forward 3-4 to get a bit more damage. Okay, I've really rambled on about combo starters and extenders, but what about combo enders? You see a lot of forward 4 for me and for good reason. First, it does a lot of damage, usually the most damage. Plus, you're left close to the opponent with almost 30 frames of hit advantage. That means they're waking up into an overhead low mix-up between forward 4, an armor breaking, double hitting overhead, and back 4, a low hitting sweep that knocks down and is +2 if they block. And when they wake up blocking because they're expecting the overhead or the low, you can just throw instead. You can also end in a roll to side switch. Well, a side switch within the combo itself. From a roll starter, it actually retains the starting side. Ending and roll has less hit advantage, so they stand up earlier, but still has enough for the forward 4, back 4 Oki. And if you've been abusing forward 4 like me, you kind of condition the opponent to that specific wake-up timing, which can throw them off sometimes. I also like to end and roll to create a sandwich with Serena to keep her out of the line of fire should they decide to wake up. In a meterless B&B, you can dash up forward 3 into roll. In the metered B&B, there's more space to cover, but forward 2 works instead. Alternatively, if you always like to end and roll and find the dashing into forward 3 annoying, you can swap out the jump 2-2 air roll extender for jump 1-2-2 and then dash 2-1 like you would for the EX teleport combo. If you want to end with EX roll, this version will also do more damage than the other. Or you could always skip the ender altogether and use the 60 plus frames of hit advantage you get after an air roll for a Kameo setup. And finally, let's talk about incorporating Fatal Blow as a combo ender. The range is good, about round start distance, but the startup is very slow. You can work a Fatal Blow in as a combo ender after a roll or air roll extender in most mid-screen combos, but it's pretty skelled at that point. Instead, after a roll starter, you can standing 4, dash into 2-1, then cancel that into Fatal Blow. In the corner, you'll get almost 500 damage from a meterless combo by canceling into Fatal Blow after 2 standing 4s. 2 standing 4s instead of 4 dash into 2-1 is also possible mid-screen, but it's pretty tight. And remember to walk yourself out of the corner a little bit first. If you start your corner combo with meter, you can also end it in Fatal Blow, but the damage scaling is higher so it actually does less damage. Use 2-1 here. If you use standing 4 to cancel into Fatal Blow, it'll drop. Now let's talk about implementing cameos into your gameplay. Cameos with ambush abilities are a great way to create combos when and where you normally can't, but they can introduce additional potential points of failure. Look for any chance to extend a combo, namely after even the most minor little pop-ups that knock the opponent's feet off the ground. For Mileena, this will most commonly be in the strings that you probably already use, like forward 144, forward 242, and forward 2433. Let's say you really like Scorpion and you saw some awesome combos on YouTube and Twitter for big juicy damage off your normal BNBs. You also like that he has an overhead, because you're as masochistic as every other Mileena player that's looking for any excuse to risk your life on block. When at full screen, you notice that you use EX loci a lot to check the opponent, maybe even win a projectile exchange by low profiling theirs. Then you use that knockdown advantage to close some space. But wait a minute, their feet are knocked off the ground when the loci hits. You don't recover in time to do anything about it yourself, but would an ambush work? It does look like Scorpion appears in time, but the fireballs are not connecting. Maybe if you just time the input a little bit sooner. Hey, there we go. Now what can you do about it? How can you close all this space? Teleport will connect, but then the combo ends there. Maybe if you called the ambush again after the teleport. Scorpion doesn't leave the screen in time to be called for another ambush, and the teleport doesn't recover soon enough for you to do anything about it before the combo drops. So what other tools do we have at our disposal? Roll? We're at full screen and roll doesn't connect full screen. How about a quick dash and then roll? Okay, a little bit of a launch, but what if you tighten up the timing a little bit? Alright then. After a little bit of trial and error, it finally starts to click. If the dash is done immediately after the loci recovery, and the roll isn't input until the second hit of the ambush, you can start to make this really consistent. Okay, so now what? We've got our launch, so now it's time to extend the combo. You try good old reliable. Jump 2-2 into air roll, and then dash up into forward 4. 310 damage. That's a pretty big upgrade from the 90 damage you got from the Psy all by itself. But what about extending with jump 1-2-2? Could you get anything more? The ambush altered the gravity, so no chance for the standard dash into 2-1 afterwards. Jump 1-2-2 can be special cancelled, and you still have that lingering idea about a teleport into an ambush that didn't work out earlier. Would that work now? Indeed it does work now. So let's just wedge this new extender before the one in the previous combo and leave the rest the same. Does it work? Yep, 376 damage. Not so bad for a full screen combo, though whether or not it's worth all the resources is up to you. Something to keep in the back pocket nonetheless. Let's try one more ambush before we move on to something else. Sonya Blade. What if you really like her, even if all your friends say that there's better cameo options for Mileena? She's not in the main roster, and that sucks, so you're getting your Sonya fix however you can. She has an ambush that you've seen in plenty of other combos, Mileena or not. Let's take a look at those strings I mentioned earlier that can't be special cancelled but knock the opponent's feet off the ground to see how they might interact with her ambush. Forward 2-4-2. Nope, she flies right over top. Forward 2-4-3-3. Nope, same thing. Forward 1-4-4. Well, what do you know? The combo started, now how do we extend? Jump? Too much recovery. Since our main extenders are roll and air roll, and we don't recover in time for a jump in, we need to extend it with a roll. The question now is whether we need to do it by itself, or if we can dash into a normal or string first. The general rule of thumb while comboing is that, due to scaling, standing 4 will do the most damage but doesn't have much range. 2-1 will do less damage but it has better range. And worst case scenario is a roll all by itself if nothing can connect beforehand. For this, it looks like we can dash into a standing 4 just fine. If you find the timing too rigid, you can just use 2-1 instead. Let's keep it going with an air roll extender, then finish off with forward 4 per usual. 388 is pretty good damage, especially considering the string that started it all is only 145 and would have remained that way if not for the ambush. Lastly, let's take a look at Cyrax. He's got a lot of dirt. I even made a whole video about it, link in the description. but I want to talk about his throw since he can turn this into a launcher at the expense of 2 bars. This will also drive home the points I've been trying to make throughout this entire video about becoming self-sufficient and figuring out combo paths and what works where. So, without looking anything up, think to yourself how we could convert from this. We already know our common combo extenders in the air are jump 2-2 into air roll or jump 1-2-2. We've already gotten a lot of mileage out of air roll, so let's try it. That seems weird. The launch is really high and it seems awkward to get all 3 hits. Plus, what are you going to do after a roll extension if we extend with the air roll up front? Let's try jump 1-2-2 instead. We already know a combo path from our normal BMBs. Jump 1-2-2, dash, 2-1 into roll, extend again with jump 2-2 air roll, then finish off with the forward 4. Beautiful. But this can be optimized for damage. Instead of jumping, dash into a standing 4. There's still plenty of gravity left over to dash again and get all 3 hits of 1-2. You'll encounter similar launches and can use the same path. Goro, for instance, launches the opponent way up over your head with his dead weight throw. Sometimes you'll have to chase him down with a dash or 2 to even get a jump 1-2-2 if it's done up close. But hit further back, a dash into standing 4 is feasible. In the heat of a real match, the extra 6 damage or so may not be worth it, but the point I'd like to make is that when you see a launch, maybe jumping is not always the best option. Keep things like standing 4, dash into 1-2, or 2-1 in mind and experiment. And that's all I have at the moment. This turned out a lot longer than I planned, and I feel like it may have gotten away from me a little bit, so I appreciate you sticking it out. As promised in the intro, the next and final chapter of the video is the combo portion with no voiceover. Notations will be provided both on screen and in the description. This is not an exhaustive list of combos. In fact, these are the most basic staple combos that I've covered earlier in the video, with a few extras sprinkled in, and they're mostly prioritized by ease of execution and not necessarily damage. I'm also not super familiar with each and every cameo, so they won't all be included. And for those that I have included, only a couple examples from each. Otherwise, we'll be here all day long. Again, the notations will be included in the description, along with my best effort to describe the timing of any ambush cameos. Feel free to comment and share what combos you use that I overlooked, or if you have any questions on timing or otherwise. Thanks for watching.